Welcome everyone to the Peaches Cast. I'm your host Pierce, not joined alongside of my usual co-host Dylan, but two of my friends here. I got our good recurring guest and creator of Sheet Liga, does all the streams, is the commissioner of Sheet Liga, Jacob, and making his first appearance on the PJ's Cast is Stanley Cup champion Mitch. Boys, how are we doing tonight? I am freaking jacked up to have y'all on this.
I'm great. I love being here, man. This is always the most fun.
Feeling great for the first time. Been wanting to do this, so
All right, so my cat must have done something. I'll blame it on my cat, and I fucked up like my mic and my speakers. But we good now. We good now.
Good.
So the trade deadline is on Friday. We're recording this Monday night. Stuff is starting to happen. We're starting to see players getting sitting out for trade reasons. I think Alex Wenberg was the first one, and I imagine there will be a few more. I remember last year there was quite a few of them. I remember Jacob Chikrin it felt like he was sitting for 2 or 3 weeks before he finally got traded, but not so much this year. There hasn't been a lot of moves really, other than I think the Lindholm trade that happened in the Monahan trade, which is 2 months ago now.
Well, and then Tanev recently.
Yeah, that's true, Tanev. But other than that, it's been pretty silent on the trade front, but that doesn't mean stuff is not happening. So first on the docket here, we have the Elias Pettersson extension, which is very interesting because when I was recording the last podcast with Dylan, there were the reports that Carolina is interested in Pettersson. They made a legitimately good offer that made the Canucks consider it. I think it was like Nichash and I think one of their I can't remember what the
the one
package
I saw was it was Natchez, Nikishkin, Jaden Perron, another prospect and like 2 firsts. It is a crazy amount, but I mean you're getting like a top 10 player, so you kind of have to pay that.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see Carolina do that because they're an organization, because they would have had to pay Elias Pettersson. They're an organization where it's like, here's our dollar amount. If you aren't matching it or lower than that, then we're moving on from you, trading you or whatever. So, but also Carolina is a smart front office that does their due diligence on everything. So it's also not surprising, but I think the most surprising part was from Vancouver's end. You're having such a good year, but in typical Canucks fashion, you find a way to kind of mess it up there for a few seconds where, you're a franchise center who has, gotten 100 points before and is legitimately one of the best players in the NHL. And if there aren't so many good players right now, he would be in the Hart consideration. Like there's players on his own team that they're in the Hart consideration.
Team is so stacked this year with how everyone's performing, but I kind of respect the fact that they like at least wanted to hear it out, because most teams are like, well, it's a good thing we're not going to break it up at all no matter what. And they were kind of like, hey, it's a good thing, but if he wants 13 million or doesn't want to be here, let's get it done now. If you add Natchez to this team, maybe they're still a good competitive team. I mean, he's still a really good player, but I got mad respect for that. There's a lot of people who would just kind of like let it ride out till the offseason and get a lot worse return.
Yeah, and what I saw was when they got that offer from Carolina, got them to go to Pettersson, was like, hey, so how serious are we about your future here?
Yeah, you kind of starked everything. So,
yeah,
I mean, they did, Carolina did their due diligence. They made a good offer. Apparently Vancouver did. And then Pettersson was like, I don't want to go to a team with 5 Finnish players. I'm xenophobic, so I'm staying here.
And a team with Tony DeAngelo, which I respect. Finnish people and Tony DeAngelo.
Completely forgot about that.
I kind of forget
he is on Carolina, right? He did go back.
He
to
just
Carolina.
Isn't doing anything this year. I think he's
that's probably why we haven't heard of. But that's a good thing that he isn't doing anything.
Now he's gonna have like 50 points. Just watch.
Yeah,
hell yeah! It's the PJ's Cast.
He has 10 points in 27 games per save. He sucks.
Yeah, he gets crashed.
Yeah, the graphs now show he's actually great, even though he sucks. So the inverse, great, love that. Way to go, analytics.
Listen, it still sticks strong to me. Analytics suck.
Mitch is the greatest analytic denier of all time, and I love it.
Me and Mork hate him.
What's you want on your side?
Yep.
I saw that picture. I always remember that picture of it was or like embrace tradition, like reject modern like technology or whatever. And it was like a picture. It was show like the graphs of Luke Shen, Zach Bogosian when the Lightning won the cup, and it just shows them raising the cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of to touch up on the Vancouver thing. I feel like they've been dealing with the remnants of Jim Benning, the ghost of Jim Benning, where they mostly have moved on. Like they've gotten rid mostly of all those bad contracts that he signed, and then that kind of like crept back in where Elias Pettersson, he only signed that 3-year extension, and that was a Jim Benning thing. And
Yeah.
again, bridge deals, they can usually, more often than not, they come back to haunt you. I don't think bridge deals are good unless you're a team, that's won multiple cups and is trying to contend, and you just need, like, you just simply don't have the money to give to those players, and you're like, okay, like, you're not getting a 6, 7, 8 year contract worth 7-8 million per, but you might have to make less term, but you're going to win cups now. And if we have to move on to you so you can go elsewhere and make money, then you do that. But Vancouver hasn't really done anything up until this year. So letting Elias Pettersson walk, or like trading or moving on for him, would not have been a good thing, especially with everything good that's happening with that franchise. So I'm glad they got Pettersson locked down. They still have a few years left of Quinn Hughes. I think they still have a few years left of Thatcher Demko. So they pretty much have everything locked in. They traded for Lindholm. He's a UFA, and I wonder if they maybe look elsewhere. Maybe they look for a Jake Gensel. I don't know. They can still make moves. There's still a few days for the deadline, and kind of waiting for the dominoes to fall, I suppose, because we got the Chris Tanev trade. He was, I think, the big defense. Okay, maybe not big defensive, the big right-handed shot. There's still Noah Hannafin out there, but
yeah.
Tanev
was the big defensive defenseman. That you get to lock down your D core. Hannafin. It'll be interesting to see if he goes anywhere, or if Calgary even sells off, Markstrom. But
Calgary, I don't know what the hell they're doing, because coming into this year, just with how bad last year went, it was almost, and everyone's contract being up, it was almost a sign of, if things don't go well, especially in that division with Vegas, with Edmonton, and even Vancouver and Seattle to an extent, how are you going to contend or try to go for a cup? I don't think this team will ever fully bottom out just because of the pieces they have. But coming into this year, looking at all the UFAs they had, that would have been a perfect chance to just sell everyone off and go scorched earth rebuild. Maybe not scorched earth rebuild, but get rid of all the pieces. Sorry?
At least sell off big pieces and try it.
Absolutely, because you're not getting rid of Jonathan Huberdeau or Nazem Kadri, because for one thing, they're making too much money, and two, I think they have like no movement clauses and no trade clauses, so that'll be difficult.
And where the Hannafin and Tanev trade comes in, because you're not trading Anderson away, you're not trading away Uyghur.
Yeah, not yet, at least.
Yeah.
And for Jake Markstrom, it sounded like he was really like upset that I think he wanted to be traded. He wanted to go to the New Jersey Devils. There was that trade that got nixed, but I think it got nixed because of all the money involved. The Flames owners is very cheap, so any retained salary, that's going to be a no-no, even if you're getting, a first-round pick and a really good young player like Alexander Holtz.
Yeah.
And that sounds like that was kind of the thing in the Tanev deal. Is I was reading and listening to 32 Thoughts, is that I think the Oilers offered the Flames a first-round pick, but the Oilers being where they are right now, where they're so tight up against the cap, they would have had to move a player back, but Calgary didn't want to do that, and I wonder if that affected. Well, it did. We know it affected their ability to get a first-round pick. Then I wonder, like, also is that thing we can't trade Chris Tanev to our provincial rivals, so we'll go elsewhere. We'll go to Dallas. We'll get a second, and then maybe get a guy who can, like, a young defenseman who can get in our lineup and play sooner rather than later.
Who kind of same role as Tanev did.
Yeah.
Way into the lineup.
Yeah. Overall, I'm not a huge fan of what Craig Conroy has done in Calgary. I remember the first trade he made last offseason before the draft. He traded to Foley, and Tyler Toffoli just seems like the perfect guy. Another guy, again, another guy with 1 year left. You hold on to the trade deadline, a guy who's been moved for a first round pick before. I
Yeah.
feel Calgary could have done the same. I mean, they did get Sharon Govich from that trade, and he's been very well, like fit in very well with the Flames. That's a guy they can use going forward. So
Yeah.
it's not like, looking back on it, it's not a bad trade, but I feel that's the kind of guy where you could probably get what they got for Lindholm. Like you can get a Sharon Govich, Kuzmenko, like middle six kind of guy, get a first round pick, maybe get a decent prospect, but they only got, I think, like a late second at the draft and Sharon Govich, but
Yeah. Sold off too
moving
early.
on. And I still think they did fine with the Lindholm trade, Chris Tav trade. I think they could have gotten more, especially considering that we know they could have got a first round pick. Chris Tanev just seems like the perfect guy that could get a first round pick. You know, him being a right-handed shot defenseman, veteran, good in the locker room, has played in playoff games before. Like that's the perfect guy. James would be like, oh yes, let's go spend a first round pick on that fellow.
Yeah.
But alas, they didn't. But I feel if they hit on a Noah Hannafin trade, I think, you know, you look at the individual trades. Maybe they're not so great, but like you look at overall the whole picture, maybe it's not that bad. Sorry, you were going to say something?
The only thing I don't like about that Tanev trade, especially, is the condition. It was they got a second in the player, and then it was like a conditional third, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And the condition is they only get that pick if Dallas wins the cup.
Oh yeah, well, there's always those kind of provisions or conditions on the picks, and it feels like over the years it's gotten more convoluted. Like it would always just used to be, oh, if they win the cup, then this third turns to a second, or second turns to a first. But now it's like, oh, this third will turn to a second if they reach the conference final, and this player plays in 50% of this in the games, and they get this amount of points. It's just like so many. It goes down so many avenues. But yeah,
I would have liked it
trade
more if they
deadline
were able to
season.
keep that third, but I don't think Dallas wins it, so I don't think they're getting that third at all.
Oh, you're talking about the
Damn.
Tanev one? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I
Well, we're
don't
kind of
know.
talking about Calgary as a whole. Like,
I can't believe that was the stipulation. Like, have it be a fourth, go to a third. Just the fact that it's a third and you either get it or don't is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But Calgary loves those conditions. Do you remember the Monahan / Kachuk trade where the first they sent to get rid of Monahan is dependent on like 6 stipulations, depending on where Florida and Montreal or Calgary finish? It's so hard to decipher.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what we're talking about as we were wrapping up the Elias Pettersson contract talks. Like, I think it's kind of to finish up on that before we go into the Calgary talk. Like, yeah, Elias Pettersson 11.6. I feel he could have gotten more. Like, I'm surprised he didn't get more and maybe wait a little longer.
I really thought it would have been 12, but
yeah,
at least, yeah. Like, I thought you could have made McDavid money for.
Yeah, that's
for what he's worth to that team. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And no one would have been like, we absolutely cannot.
No one really would have batted an eye at that one, but
no.
And he took a nicer deal, and it makes me wonder though, like if that's what it took, what were they offering beforehand?
Yeah,
were they offering like 9, like something like really outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's probably the thing. Like with Vancouver, historically, the ownerships have gotten their fingers in the cookie jar more than an owner should, and they've always been money oriented. So how things have been going this year, it's good because they're going to get playoff games, they're going to get that playoff revenue. But we don't want to offer Elias Pettersson too much. Like, it's one thing, because that's the thing with negotiations. Is one, like, you're always the general manager, or whatever, is always going to come in lower. The player's going to come in higher, and you meet somewhere in the middle. Where there always gets to be the problems is when it's your superstar player and there's this huge discrepancy. So yeah, if like a Pettersson was asking 12 million, like that doesn't even sound unreasonable. But if Vancouver's like, I'll give you 8 or 9 million, that's what are you doing there?
Yeah, that's the part where it's like, how far off were you, and what the hell were you guys doing? Like, did you really think he wasn't worth that? Like, you even compare William Nylander to one, he got 11.5 or like they either got the same deal or close to it, and it's like, how are you gonna argue he's not worth that?
No, easily, and he's a center, and he's younger. Like I thought he should. I think it's fair. It's good for both sides. Like it's not like Pettersson got nothing or hosed.
Oh yeah,
but
he
I
didn't get
still
ripped
feel like,
off.
yeah, I think he could have squeezed the Canucks management for a bit more.
But
Yeah,
good for him. He didn't. You know what? I mean, bad for the rest of the league because down with Vancouver. But what are you gonna do?
and talking, you said Nylander at a perfect time because his brother just scored to make it 2-0 against Vegas right now.
Wait, did Alex Nylander just score again?
Yeah.
Oh my
he just
god,
put
that's
it
his
2-0.
second. That's his second goal this year. Good for you. Know what? I'm sorry they're beating you. I want you to beat Columbus, but good for him.
Oh, that one hurts.
Mitch, if it makes you feel any better, the Blue Jackets beat the Blackhawks like 5-1 the other night.
Mitch, if it makes you feel any better, Toronto's losing to Boston. I don't know why that matter. I just looked at the score. It was the only other game.
I mean, we lose 7-2 to Buffalo 2 days ago, and now we're down 2.
You can't lose to Columbus. Oh man.
No, you can't. You absolutely can't. Only the Blackhawks can do that.
Only yeah.
Yeah, that's it on the Pettersson extension.
Yeah, the Flames trade Markstrom.
Trade Markstrom.
Picture of the Dr. Phil M&M.
Dude, I can't. That took
over Markstrom
one night.
Just
you know that meme of Stewie where he like he's like oh, and it's like a picture and it just shows a picture of the M&M. Yeah, that
every time I turn around, it's him.
That damn face, that damn smile.
Yeah,
you only know what we're talking about if you're on Twitter. Yeah, well, you live in Cal. Like, what do you make of Calgary? Because I was talking, me and Mitch were talking. I said I'm not a fan of what Craig Conroy has been doing.
I mean, it's very.
What's the temperature like in Calgary?
Yeah,
not like literal temperature, but
the older fans want them to compete, and the younger generation wants them to rebuild. Which I kind of get, like the reasons for both, because they're kind of really overperforming what people thought this year, especially Markstrom's one of the best goalies. Huberdeau's having like a mini resurgence. He's never going to be the 100-point player again, but he's usable. Kadri looks great. Coleman looks great.
Scored a beautiful
goal. But then
goal
no one wants to stay there. Lindholm wanted $9 million to be there, and Hanifin wants like $8 million to be there. And even they tried to keep Tanev. They apparently reached out the day before they traded him to extend him. So it's like, I don't even know if they know what they want to do. Maybe Conroy wants to get younger because, I mean, you look at how good Zari's been. They got Wolf, Coronado, Pelche looks good. They have no defenseman besides like Morin or Moran, however you say it. They're in limbo. They're never going to be good enough to win, and they're never going to be bad enough to get the first overall pick. So you kind of have to rebuild on the fly. He's got such a bad situation there.
Well, I was saying this last podcast with Dylan, or the podcast before, I can't remember, but it feels like Calgary has kind of perpetually been in this state for like 20 years now, because they made it to the Cup final in 2004. We all know that with Kiprusoff and Iginla. Right? Sorry. Was in. We know this, right? But yeah, Kiprusoff and Iginla kept them afloat for another like half decade to like the 20 teens.
Yeah, they almost traded Iginla too late to kind of get max value. Like, I think it was the last year of his deal. If they would have pulled the trigger 3 years earlier, you're getting a haul for him. But then they lucked into Goudreau. I mean, good drafting into Goudreau. They get Tkachuk.
Yeah. But like the worst year they had, they get Tkachuk.
Yeah. Monahan was a stud. I mean, they draft Adam Fox. They flip him for Lindholm and Hanifin. I mean, they also lost Dougie Hamilton, but losing.
That's still a solid trade, though. Like, you got two.
Yeah, I mean, like, they got two.
Top six.
They were making good pieces or good trades, and they had a good team, and then they just could never really get to the promised land. And now everyone's gone. Goudreau left in free agency. Monahan was a cap dump that became worth a first-round pick afterwards. Tkachuk was traded for Huberdeau and Weegar. Now Hannafin wants out. Lindholm wants out. Markstrom wants out. Tanev doesn't want to be there. They're just kind of screwed. Taking that Kachuk trade and not just completely rebuilding in hindsight's probably the biggest mistake they made.
Yeah.
If they wouldn't have got Huberdeau, or if they even got those two and flipped them, but if they had actually just prioritized picks and prospects, I think they're in such a better like rebuilding position right now. But again, hindsight's 2020. When you add Huberdeau and Uyghur for Kachuk and you get Kadri.
I still defend that trade. Like I
Yeah.
still think that's a good trade. Like I think they could trade Uyghur and get just a massive haul. You're never moving Huberdeau. Unless he just has like 100-point season out of nowhere, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
this is their one chance
Even
to
that,
trade.
no,
But even then, they have no dooming clauses.
That term and that money in the clauses, it's
Mhm.
just so icky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Which is nice to see for a division rival to be given
Yeah.
that.
As a Vegas fan, Mitch loves this. As like I said, down with Vancouver, man. Who cares?
I'm ready for Lindholm to sign a big contract in Vancouver now. I just Hronik to get a big one.
Hronik $9 million, Lindholm $9 million. They can't trade for Gensel anymore. It's money. It's perfect.
Seth Jones Phil Perona gets the Seth Jones contract. I say.
I would love it.
God, what happened to the game I love?
Yeah, Calgary is kind of the same thing with Vancouver with the ownership. Is it Murray Edwards?
Murray Edwards was the one who apparently got one of the other people under him to nix the trade that sent Markstrom to New Jersey.
Oh yeah,
and it's funny because after that trade, I think Calgary went like 4-1, and I think New Jersey went like 0-4.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's like
they fired their head coach, which we'll get into soon. Yeah.
But if New Jersey's going to pull the trigger, they got to do it now. They're 8 points out. Like they could just say we're done for the year, and now you're stuck with Markstrom. Like now you might have really screwed yourself.
Yeah. And though I did see that the Devils still do want to get Markstrom, even if it is this offseason.
Yeah, the issue is that Calgary's pissed off Markstrom to high hell because they said to him, "Yeah, you'll be gone," and now you're not. And hey, guess what? Now you're the starter on our team, and we're going for the playoffs. And he already moved. All of his family's there, and it's like, oh, what the hell, man?
Yeah, it's a thing of yo-yoing.
Such a shit show there.
It is. It's so dysfunctional. It feels like Craig Conroy is as many GMs are across the league, puppet heads, figureheads, whatever you want to call them, like for the ownership, the president, or anyone that's above them. Telling a goalie like Jacob Markstrom, well, we might move, like the whole thing of yo-yoing, I'm never a fan of. Either you tell them they're staying or they're going. There's no in between, and that feels like that's a relationship broken now. I don't know if it happens now that Markstrom gets traded to the Devils, but that could be a thing in offseason. Mitch should Vegas score, I'm guessing.
Jason Morelli, AHL.
Really? Let's go.
Is that his first NHL goal?
I think that's his third.
I was gonna say it's either his second or third. I saw him.
Wow! Oh, so he's got a couple.
That is his third. Yeah, good for him.
More goals than Alex Nylander.
I kind of hate talking about Alex Nylander because Jacob knows.
Oh my god! Yeah, that was I remember when that trade happened years ago, and I was like, "How did we give up Nylander for this stupid fucking Finnish defenseman?" And Yoki Hart was actually like, "Okay, now." Poor bastard.
Yeah, it's man. I hate thinking about the late 2010s Hawk because it was just so dysfunctional, and then obviously after all the fallout, what happened a couple years ago.
Yeah,
but man,
at least your team has shown that it is possible to rebound from it. I mean, not the stuff that happened, but I mean like the bad ownership and the bad moves and all that. You can find a way to get out of being perpetually bad. You guys finally pulled the trigger on Kane and Taves. Keith is gone. And you just said you committed to being bad. You got Bedard, and you might get a Celebrini this year, or at worst, you get like Lidstrom.
Yeah, the Blackhawks are in a good spot. Like, did Vegas score again, Mitch?
Carlson.
Wild
Bill against his old team. Let's go.
Give me a Wild Bill.
Oh my god, that's right.
Sorry, and Connor's freaking out because Will Cole scored against Florida. Yeah, there it is in the chat. Will Cole,
Oh yeah, and then I got the notification on my phone because William Karlsson is on my fantasy team. He scored, so there you
Nice.
go.
There you go.
And when Gensel's on Carlson's line, you'll be feasting in fantasy.
Oh,
I just, man, to kind of go off topic as is podcast tradition, how did how did Columbus let William Karlsson go? And like he goes over there and he's a guy who gets 40 goals. And from what I've seen the metro, he's a playoff performer
yeah.
and he's a very good defense. Like he's just he's the perfect second line center. Like I don't know how Columbus just let that go. And even if he wasn't that good, like how Vegas has developed him is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, before I think he had a total of like 8-10 goals maybe with Columbus in his
I'm
time.
gonna look it up because I think I
He
remember
wasn't-
his stats weren't crazy.
Because I remember the first year, the expansion year that we became a team. They played in Columbus, and Marchessault asked Carlson, "You think you're gonna have a tribute video?" He had like 15 points. No,
He had in 2 full seasons in Columbus, he had 45 points and 15 goals.
yeah.
And
To put that in perspective, when he got the first year in Vegas, I think he had almost 45 goals. So
no, he had 18 in career goals. 2, 1, 9, and 6, and then he got 43 the next
no, that's
year.
what I mean. Like the amount of points he had in his first few years of Columbus, he almost matched that with his goals in one season.
Goals,
like that's
right,
crazy. Yeah,
that's insane. He was like he has never hit that peak again, but that 1 year, the first year in Vegas, and they go to the Cup, that's just incredible, man. That's a story that you tell your kids forever.
Yeah. Like, you think you're going to get a tribute video? No, not at all.
No, not at all.
15 goals here.
And they should have. Anyway, Pierce, you could have ended what you were saying about Columbus so early instead of saying, like, how did Columbus mess up William? How did Columbus mess up everything?
yeah.
The Bjorkstrand
really
trade, their entire team right now, like, they just ooze talent. They had Panarin and Duchesne and Bobrovsky. Nothing.
I mean, they got a nice little sweep on Tampa, though.
That's true. We'll always have that. We'll always have the Tampa
always
tweet
have that.
afterwards where you don't want, we hear your words. We know you're frustrated, angry, whatever.
So
we'll always have that.
That team blows my mind with how much talent they've had over a decade, and they've got like nothing to show for it. They got a nice prospect now.
Yeah, kind of just another thing of dysfunctionality. Like I know it's like it's more complex than that, but Jarmo Kekalainen, like I guess it's kind of the same with Calgary and Columbus because Bradshaw Living was there for such a long time, and again, I don't really know what the relationship was between him and the owner Murray Edwards, but you know, when you're a mediocre team for so long, you've only won a couple playoff rounds, and for the case of Columbus, they'd never won a playoff round until 2019. And I respect Jarmo Kekalainen and like how he just went balls to the wall. Like we're acquiring Matt Duchesne at this trade deadline. I think they got a couple other pieces too. Like I respected how he did that, but me and Dylan have talked about this on the podcast. The only reason why Jarmo Kekalainen was still in the NHL is because of Stan Bowman. 2 trades were like twice you think Columbus is gonna, you know, go on the downturn and like, oh no, we'll just go to Chicago and make a big trade and fleece them. 2017, they obviously got Panarin. I think they missed the playoffs, or maybe they lost on round 1 against Pittsburgh. I can't quite remember the years. I mean, either way, they're all mediocre. But went out and got Panarin, and they were a team kind of like a dark horse for a couple years, and they had some young pieces. Like you still had Seth Jones, Zach Werenski. You had that defensive system with John Tortorella, but now we got Pierre-Luc Dubois, we got Artemi Panarin, we got Cam Hackett. Like we're starting to fit, you know, ice a competitive team that can make the playoffs year in and year out. And you did that for 2017, 18, 19. You lost to, I think, Pittsburgh, Washington, all these eventual Cup champions. You beat swept Tampa Bay in one of the craziest upsets in sports history. But then
caused a dynasty doing it, though.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you woke up a sleeping giant. But then 2020, I mean, it's COVID year. It's all fucked up. But 2021, that should have been your like one bad year, and then they go back to Chicago. Like everyone wants that, but then they go back to Chicago, trade Seth Jones, and it's funny looking back at that trade now. It's not that great of a trade for both sides. Like Chicago will always lose that trade. I
Yeah,
mean, the contract is still awful with Seth Jones, but he's still like a top pairing guy. Like he's still a top pairing guy on most teams. I feel even if he was making 7.5 or 8 mil, no one's complaining as much about this trade. But I mean, everyone thinks Columbus fleeced that trade, including me in that time. But in the couple of
yeah.
years
At the
that's
time, it
passed
looked
since
so
it,
much worse, but
oh,
yeah,
it's not great. I think just both teams lost that trade because
yeah.
Boakfist is getting scratched. Like he's not playing regularly. He's not developed in for
Yeah,
what.
I mean, the one thing that hinges this being still a potential fleece is how David Yurchek works out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
easily.
because Boakfist has been, by all accounts, just a disappointment. Sillinger's kind of hit or miss. I mean, he's
I
more
still
well
feel
known.
they should have kept him in. I think it was college or
Yeah,
junior. I can't remember, but not on Columbus. Like he
and
did
then
fine
they,
his first year, but he
yeah,
should have
the second round pick. I think they flipped to Carolina because it's
to
Alexi
Jake Bean.
Salt. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I
And
trust me. I know.
yeah, I forgot about the Jake Bean part, who also hasn't really been great. And then David
Yeah.
Yurchek. And you guys got Jones, Nolan Allen, and Dominic James, who I 6th round or whatever. But Allen at least might be like the second best prospect in this still, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that whole night, it was the absolute worst case scenario with just everything. Like, had that trade been made and the Blackhawks gotten like a Logan Stankoven with that pick instead of Nolan Allen, and now you have Bedard and like
Oh
Stankoven
man,
on your team, you can start
yeah, that's
to see
a
things forming together. But I mean,
yeah.
if the Seth Jones trade had to happen in order for Connor Bedard to be a Blackhawk, I'd do it a million times out of a
Oh
million.
yeah,
But
it's
Yeah.
there's playing revisionist, I guess. There's part of me thinking, well, if they don't make the Seth Jones trade and they keep that pick, don't trade to Brinkett, still get Bedard, and now
yeah.
you have
Oh
your
yeah,
check
revisionist
to
history
Brinkett
is
and
always so
Bedard.
much
Yeah.
fun when you start being like, oh, what if he did this instead of this? And it's like,
hmm
yeah, your team would be nuts, man.
But that's
It'd be
that's
so
the
much fun.
reality of
Yeah.
sports. You're gonna have misses, but then there's gonna be crazy moments. So it all equals out in the end. Anyways, I made this a big rant on the Blackhawks. So yeah, back to the list here. So we talked about the Elias Pettersson extension. Going to the Detroit Red Wings. Dylan Larkin is out for 2 weeks.
R.I.P.
And
My condolences to him.
RIP.
I don't know. I don't what is the injury? I saw he was out, but I didn't catch like the
I think lower body injury. I think he got tangled up with someone on Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
take a peek. I'll verify this. The first tweet that came up was from 2014, so great. That's super helpful, Twitter.
What did it say?
It said Dylan Larkin's in, and it's him on the World Junior team.
Oh my lord!
Nick Schmaltz is hurt.
Wow. Former Blackhawks. They were drafted in 2014. My God, time is not real.
Dylan Larkin injury update. Yeah, 2 weeks lower body. All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not specifying anything, but oh well.
Typical.
And I follow a few Red Wings fans who are like, oh my God, it's so over. But
we're at that point of the lead. Yeah. I think
they're fine.
Everybody.
Yeah. Kind of looking at the standings, everything seems like it's solidifying now. Like we talked about Calgary. Yeah, they have some games in hand, but they're 7 points back of the Predators, 2 games in hand. Like they gotta go, like they gotta continue this winning just to get even with them.
Yeah, that's the part that sucks is like, when you look at Pittsburgh, who's 10 points back and they got to jump 3 teams and they have to beat one of those teams. You're hoping 4 teams lose every night and you just not doing it. Like the Devils now are 8 back. Is trading for Markstrom even helpful at that point? Are you going to make up enough ground?
And that I didn't realize until today when I checked to see where they were in the standings. I was like, all right, I know they've been on a bit of a losing streak, but I didn't think that they were 6th in their division.
Yeah, the one I'm more worried about, especially with all their injuries, is Tampa because they've played 63 games. They get 72 points. So if the Islanders win all 3 games in hand, they're tied.
Yeah,
that's right.
So the Islanders just have to play better than Tampa the rest of the year, and you're in, which is kind of crazy. But Detroit should be fine. You just kind of pray you can hold it together for a couple weeks until he's back. But he is a huge loss, unfortunately, for them.
And I think Steve Yzerman knows that the Red Wings haven't made the playoffs. Well, like it'll be 8 years of playoff drought. They're breaking. Like I think he's gonna make a big move. Remember last podcast we did, Dylan and I did what trades? Like we kind of did mock trades, like what we somewhat realistic trades we could. And one of them was Nick Schmaltz to the Red Wings. And when I saw Larkin get hurt,
that's especially because the center market's not huge. So like if you get a guy who could even just fill in there temporarily and then go back to wing.
I mean, they have $3 million in cap space right now, which isn't a lot, but it isn't not a lot.
They can move things around. Like if you try, GMs can move money
for them.
around.
They have a ton of just shitty contracts.
They can get rid of contracts. They can get a player retained.
Get a third party broker in there, Blackhawks, which I think they'll be doing a couple of times. Yeah, the Red Wings, they're so deep in their prospect pool. The trade I had was Simon Edvinsson to the Coyotes for Schmaltz and Bukestad, and that would just help solidify their forward core, especially now having Nick Schmaltz in there, and then being a Blackhawks fan. It would be such a turning the knife in the heart with having a line of DeBrincat, Schmaltz, and Kane.
Oh fuck! I was thinking because you're gonna say because Detroit's a rival, and I was like, are they still considered a rival with Hawks?
No, well, they haven't been in the same conference for 10 years now, and they both have kind of
at some point I feel like it kind of just dies out.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck! I forgot. Jake
if they were
Allman
still
and Justin Hall had the same contract. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think the labors of Steve Yzerman's food, the Yzer plan is starting to work. The Yzer plan. I can't talk words right now.
Yeah.
I think they make a big, and Steve Yzerman is always the guy. He makes a move, but you almost never see it coming. Like I think we're gonna see a trade similar.
I forgot they retained salary on Jacob Verana. That's right, because they got him in the Anthony Mantha trade. I was like, how the hell did they end up with him? What the hell?
I remember that trade going through, and it was at the last second.
Yeah, and it was such a big trade.
And it was such a big deal because Mantha and Verana, like those are highly regarded guys and younger, but obviously now I think 3 years has passed since that, and that haven't quite worked out.
Yeah, neither of them have really been great. Unfortunate for both.
Yeah, Mantha might get moved from the Capitals as well. Like I think Verana's on the Blues right now. Speaking of the Capitals,
Verana's been on waivers a few times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of the Capitals, Evgeny Kuznetsov got sent down to the AHL.
Our Selke winner is on the waivers.
How did that become to be a thing? Was it just a guy arguing with Jay Fresh?
Yeah, so a guy tweeted at Jay Fresh and said, hey, "What do you think? What are your thoughts on Kuznetsov winning the Selke?" And he went, "Evgeny Kuznetsov? Yeah, from the Washington Capitals. Yeah." That was so good. That Twitter united for one day and just laughed.
It's more like that.
I feel really bad for him because, I mean, he's made his money. He's won his cup. Good for him. But he clearly has some sort of addiction problem. He's been on the player assistance program a few times, I believe. And as soon as you come off to get sent down right away, it's kind of, you're trying to stay clean. I can't imagine that's the easiest thing going on right now. But, best of luck to him. Hopefully they can find a trade for him in the offseason that benefits him and the team.
And I was kind of like hoping that Chicago would claim him.
That's the funny thing, because I was just gonna bring that. I don't think they would have claimed him, but I know the Blackhawks are in the business of picking up any kind of contract they can get that ends when Bedard's ELC ends. So, like, when me and Dylan were doing our trades we like to see, I did like this 3-way trade where Edmonton got Tarasenko and Chychrun, and they traded like Broberg, Lavoie, like first round picks to them. And then I had the Oilers sending Cody Ceci to Edmonton. Cody Ceci would be perfect because you just have another right-handed shot, just a guy who can play on your NHL team, and he has only 1 year left after this, I'm pretty sure. So you're not worrying about that overlapping with Bedard's new contract. And looking at Kuznetsov, his contract ends in 2025.
Yeah, I was just checking that out. You were right about Cody Ceci too. His is this year and next year, so it would have been You're perfect.
I know. I looked
You're
at my good
very
pal
so
Cap
smart.
friendly. I did the research.
It would have
Do your
been
research, kids.
It would have been fun to see them claim him and flip him retained.
I saw a bunch of people saying that. They're like, if the NHL was a real league, the Hawks would claim them and flip them. I was like, yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Man,
But no, I could see that happening. I was seeing the thing with Kuznetsov is that like he has a big bonus that's due to be paid out. So I don't know if the Capitals did that and we're like, okay, Blackhawks take on the rest of his salary, like 7.8 against your cap, but you get like a second round pick or whatever, or like a decent prospect.
Yeah.
It's against your cap, but you're not really paying him any money because of the bonus. Like I think that could happen.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you always got to hit the cap floor. I know the Hawks went out of their way and paid a couple guys the 2-year extensions to match Bedard's, like with Foligno, Dickinson, and Mrazek. But you can always get more. I mean, you're going to lose probably Tyler Johnson and Beauvillier at the end of this year. You might bring one back, but you can always get somebody with a bit of skill. He's, won a playoff or a cup, so he brings championship pedigree to some extent. You just kind of hope that he's not a negative influence on Bedard in the way of his illicit cocaine habit.
Whatever.
Not realizing Bolivier is a Blackhawk.
No, I don't blame you. The Blackhawks
he's done like nothing.
No, he hasn't. He's done cardio. It's funny because they play Colorado again tonight, but they played Colorado a few nights ago, and they got beat 5-0, obviously. But
wasn't it 5-1? Didn't they score at the end?
No, it was 5-0. They got shut out. Trust me, I would know. They had a very good first. They had like a good first 18 minutes, and I was texting our group chat, the PG's chat. I was like, "Oh, Beauvillier, I really like him. He's playing with a lot of energy, like a lot of speed with Bedard." And then 2 minutes or 3 minutes left, whatever, in the first period. That line was out there. Jack Johnson muscled Anthony Beauvillier off of the puck. 2-on-1. Zach Parise scores. So
nice.
And then they were playing so well before that, and everything just went to shit afterwards. They completely collapsed and lost 5-0. So that's the most average Hawks game this season. But it's still, it sucks to see that. But yeah, there's a couple guys like that. Beauvillier they got, I think, for 4th or 5th, and
yeah, they got him from Vancouver because Vancouver got him in the Horvat trade.
Yeah,
and then Vancouver wanted to dump his cap so they could activate Mikheyev or something. It's just crazy.
No, I don't think Beauvillier is gonna be back. I haven't seen enough of him. And they got I think Rem Pitlick from Pittsburgh, who he's been up and down the minors. But yeah, I don't think the Blackhawks are gonna make any notable moves. Again, I think mostly it'll be them being a third party broker and retaining salary or even taking salaries on. But in terms of even selling off what they have now, they might trade Colin Blackwell, they might trade Tyler Johnson, but they're not trading anyone else.
Get some value for him.
If you didn't extend Dickinson and Mrazek, you probably would have got decent value for both of them. But I respect keeping them. You know what? You want to have players on the team who are not all just 6 years old.
Yeah, you need adults in the room, and that was the big thing is that. Yeah, this year is kind of they've punted on this year. Not that I think the Blackhawks, their goal is to make the playoffs or be competitive, but I think it was to be okay, I think they won 26, 27 games last year. Let's kind of stay at that level, maybe even win a couple more games with Luke Richardson's system and having Connor Bedard, having Taylor Hall, and having a full year of Mrazek being well and having that Seth Jones on your blue line. You could do worse, and they've had so many injuries, but they've had so many good things. Connor Bedard, I think, should win the Calder. Alex Vlasic has already turned into Nick Jalmerson 2.0. Mrazek has been a very he's better. He's an above average goalie. He's been at a 9-10 for a good chunk of the season. There was a stretch, a 10-game stretch where he had a 930 and above. So.
Oh.
And you've gotten decent surprises out of guys like Jason Dickinson. Yeah, you've already sold off your big pieces the last couple of years with Taves Kane, McCabe, Sam Lafferty. No, I mean, yeah, they could have traded these guys for like second and third round picks, but at some point you gotta
how
keep
many
players.
prospects do you need?
Yeah.
And they still have 2 first round picks this year. Tampa could very well miss the playoffs, and they could have like a pick. In the
you have
early
2 firsts
teens.
this year, 2 seconds, 2 firsts this year, 2 firsts next year, 3 seconds this year, 2 seconds the year after, 3 seconds the year after that.
I know.
2 thirds. You're right. Maybe you don't need to actually stock up much more.
And if Tampa does miss playoffs, you kind of have a Buffalo and Vegas with Jack Eichel trade kind of situation.
Where you're getting, instead of everyone thinking you're getting like the 28th pick, 30th pick, you're getting the 16th.
Yeah.
Dude, like Tampa Bay, their second wild card spot last year.
It's
I think
possible, man.
When they lost in the first round, they still got the 19th overall pick. If the Blackhawks can get that again, I'm more than okay with that.
100%.
Yeah, I think the one guy that sucks that he's kind of fallen off. It's probably the Connor Murphy one.
Yeah,
you probably could have. Yeah, you probably could have had a trade like the Jake McCabe one with him if he kind of had stayed consistently healthy and good.
I was reading 32 thoughts, and teams were interested in Murphy, but he's injured. So maybe that's something that happens in the offseason.
It could happen in the offseason. You never know. Right-handed defensemen who are big are always loved.
How long is he out for?
I don't know. They've been so ambiguous with their injuries this year, the Blackhawks. Like, Athanasiou has been out forever, and they've kind of just been like, they've never put a timeline on it. It's just like, oh, he's dealing with groin issues, but hopefully he gets back soon.
So I was going to say,
like Murphy and Athanasiou are all hurt.
It could be like, I mean, of course he's not Gensel level, but Gensel's out for a few more weeks, and he's one of the big names. He's probably the biggest name about to be traded. It could be one of those where a contender tries to upgrade their D-core for a playoff.
Yeah, it is possible.
It could happen. I don't think it does, though.
Yeah. I think the defensive market in Murphy's case is like kind of still – there's other names that teams could get right away, and there's no injury concern with him, and there's no multi years on it.
Yeah,
it sucks with Connor Murphy because he was part of the Nick Hjalmarsson trade. Like, he was always kind of going to be unfairly compared to Nick Hjalmarsson. I feel fans started to come around to him. He extended here for 4 years. I think he took less than market value. Like, he could have gone to the open market and got $5 million plus. I think he's only making 4.4 or 5. And he played, the only playoffs he's played was in the 2020 bubble. Like, I feel, again, you want to keep veterans, but also I feel just for the, sake of Connor Murphy, like, let him go play for a team. Like, let him have his Ron Hainsey moment.
Yeah.
Enough about the Blackhawks. So let's go on to another
team that sucks.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's go on to another former dynasty team that now sucks ass. The Pittsburgh Penguins. So they played the Flames. I think it was Saturday night. They had a 3-1 lead, blew that 4-3 on Mika Kiprusoff night, which is awesome for Flames fans. But
as someone who watched that game, that was beautiful. But again, for someone who's team tank, I was like, sucks. Pittsburgh is just, listen, man, I feel bad for like 2 people on that team, and it's Crosby and Carlson, and other than that, everyone else sucks.
Tristan Jarry too. I think it was Dmitry Filipovich said Tristan Jarry has scored more goals than 10 or 15 of the total skaters they've iced this year. That should tell you how well.
It's so bad.
Damn.
Yeah, they've been. They are the oldest team in the league, I believe, on average.
That's
average
not surprising.
age.
Them in Washington.
They just, they got a lot of guys, and they just kept giving out bad deals.
Yeah.
You get Carlson. Everything's been better with him this year as compared to last year, which has been good. But like Malkin's taken the step back. Gensel's been hurt. Crosby's been inhuman, but like Rust is hurt. Rakell's hurt. Riley Smith was just disappointing.
Yeah,
half a point per game. Then you throw money at Eller and other guys like Carter and Achari. Achari's got 5 points. Just brutal.
It's that bad. Oh man, I guess I should have seen that coming.
And
with
I
the
thought
with
I
that
thought
stat.
Smith going there was going to be a nice move. I was like, oh, he's going from playing with Carlson to going possibly playing with Crosby. I was like, he should play some, and he hasn't played well.
So they get Matthew Phillips in waivers. He's got 1 goal, none with them. They got Matt Nieto, 1 goal. Yeah. John Gruden they called up. He's got a goal. Puljujarvi in 8 games, 0 goals. Their entire depth is just cooked. Carter's got 7.
Yeah, they got nothing.
Harkins has 0. Just
he missed on a penalty shot last night. Yeah, blew 3-1 lead to the Flames, and then the Oilers just ran their shit. Yeah, it wasn't even close.
And with them having no depth, I think that's a big reason why. I mean, it seems to be true. Don't know if it is, but why Pittsburgh's asking for prospects instead of picks. They want people who
they want people who are close to making the NHL. Because I mean, again, I understand when you've got Crosby and you've got Malkin, you got Carlson and Letang, you want guys who can kind of get there quicker to benefit on potentially the last 2-3 years of some of these guys' careers.
Yeah,
because I don't see a world where they trade any of the big 3 that have been there their whole career. Once they all extended, it's kind of like, yeah, they're gonna end there.
Yeah. Which it'll be interesting to see what they get from, whoever it is that trades for Gensel. If they do getting rid of
that injury is so brutal, man. I know he's the biggest guy left, but fuck. If that lowers his value at all, it's just sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's going to Vegas for Brisson in 2 seconds.
Yeah, we were who would, I mean, they could probably get both, but Mitch, if you at Vegas, it's one guy you can have. It's either Gensel or Buchnevich. Who do you take?
Fuck.
Because Buchnevich has 2 years left.
I was going to say, I'll let Mitch talk. I'll let Mitch answer first.
But Gensel
is
such a playoff performer.
He has 2 years left?
After Buchnevich would have another year after this one, yeah.
I'm taking Gensel then.
Okay.
Damn,
because the big thing that Vegas still has yet to do this year is to re-sign Marchessault.
Fair.
Who is playing himself to an even bigger contract with how he's been playing. I think he's at 32, 33 goals this year already.
Mm-hmm. Conn Smythe winner, yeah. Chandler Stevenson's a UFA. Where are you at of him? Because me and Dylan were talking about this. I feel he would be a perfect fit with the Blackhawks. Just how the way he plays, his versatility, and he can play up and down the lineup, can play any position, and he can produce points. They're not going to sign him long term, but that's a guy they signed to a 6 or even that Orlov contract that Carolina gave him. It was 2 years, but 7 point whatever.
Yeah. He's playing himself out of a contract with Vegas. Because we have to, re-sign Marchessault. He's coming up with a contract he signed. He bugs me sometimes just due to the fact that he'll play great, but you'll watch him start coasting, and he'll coast at the worst times, and he'll just make. I remember I was at a game. I was talking to my buddy about it, and he stayed on the ice for way too long. He made 2 horrible plays where we just got stuck in the D zone, and then he somehow gets a breakaway and goes and scores a ridiculous goal. I'm like, he'll do something bad that somehow won't allow a goal, and then he'll go do something amazing out of nowhere, and you're just like, where did this come from?
How did you do this? What the hell?
Yeah, I was just shitting.
Are you a wizard?
But I mean,
that's
Stone I love, but I probably don't see him coming back next year.
Mm-hmm. Especially if Marchessault is going to get a contract raise. You're going to – fuck, I didn't even know Stevenson 2.75 is such a steal.
Dude, they have so many good oh no, we're gonna lose Stevenson. We'll just have to put Nick Waugh there instead, or Brett Howe. It's ridiculous, dude. They're so good.
Crazy.
You're so lucky, Mitch.
For Stevenson too, I think it was a 4th or 5th round pick.
Yeah, to Washington, everyone was like, "This is such a stupid trade," because
it's such a nothing trade, and then meanwhile he had 10 playoff goals last year or whatever it was, and
when he first came to Vegas, he went on a heater and just started putting up points, and I was like, "I'll take it."
Yeah,
and mainly the big thing of
he had 4 points in 24 games with Washington, and then he had 22 and 40 with Vegas that year.
Damn,
great.
But obviously, the big thing of Stevenson would coming to Chicago is there would be a Stevenson Blackhawks jersey. I think that's the big thing.
It works for you.
That's why I signed him in
TRC.
Cheat Liga.
I love it.
It all comes back to me, just like everything in life.
And you talking about like, oh man, you're gonna lose Stevenson. Oh, fill in with Nick Wall. That was also a good trade by Vegas.
They traded Halla for him. Like,
traded Halla for him and a pick. It was like a 4th or 5th rounder, I think.
Crazy. And I remember when he was on, what was it, Carolina, and he just did not look great.
Yeah.
And now
he's like always bouncing up and down between them. Crazy. And I think Charlotte was their AHL team.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a rare bad Carolina trade. Usually they're so smart. That's like one that kind of got away from them. That's like a perfect third line center right there. To wrap up,
give them enough time.
Yeah, wrap up the Penguins. Man, I get wanting to give like a chance for Crosby and Malkin to win another cup, but is the way that Dubas went about it. Like, I understand a lot of these contracts were signed by the old regime, but did you really have to give Ryan Graves 6 years? I mean, Tristan Jarry has been good this year, so I guess that contract isn't bad. Lars Eller, did you really have to give him 2 years? Like, yeah, they're just so
some of the stuff. Looking at it, it's like, I can forgive going for Erik Karlsson because in the end,
it's friggin' Erik Karlsson. Like,
they also dumped so much cap in that trade. Like, getting rid of Granlund by itself was probably just worth it. Some of the other moves that offseason were just not great.
I'm happy we got a 3rd for Smith.
Really? It was a 3rd, huh? Wow.
Because we traded away a 3rd, I think it was for Teddy Blue. Year before.
Oh my god.
So we just got that 3rd.
You trade for Smith, you give Eller that contract, $2 million for him. Like you said with Graves, just a huge,
And a modified no trade clause too. Like,
just a
10-foot pole.
Whole lot of stuff that just doesn't look great.
It doesn't make sense either. Like, they could have just gone bargain bin shopping, and like, again, it's hindsight. Like, I think this team is just underperforming, but they could have gone bargain bin shopping, just giving a bunch of guys 1 year, and like, if they didn't work out, then you just sell them off and get draft picks, and then
especially because the guys who have been underperforming aren't the stars. It's the bottom 6. That's the bottom 3 defensemen.
Oh, they have nothing in the bottom 6. Like, it's Crosby and
like
even Malkin's underperforming.
Instead of giving $4 million to Achari and Eller, if you just gotten younger there, would have been way better.
Yeah.
But hindsight's 2020. Dubas, I mean, that's why he signed that stupidly long contract. It's like
7 years, I think.
Yeah. He's gonna see this through, and then he's gonna also probably see through the rebuild.
Fenway Sports didn't sign him for 7 years just for the sake of signing him 7 years. Like, I think Kyle Dubas was like, I'll try to make this team good. Like, I'm gonna trade for Erik Karlsson. I'll spend all this money because Fenway Sports, I don't think they're short on money. I don't think. Spent all that money. It doesn't work now. Okay, let me do my rebuild now.
Yeah, it's we did it your way. Now we do it my way.
Yeah, I haven't followed him that much, but all this stuff about how Mike Sullivan should just be fired. And he has
what? I think he's going to be fired at the end of the year.
He's just going to wait till the end.
I mean, it's not even so much that like he's been bad. There's like a lot of stuff that's gone on. It's just he's also been there like almost 10 years now.
You need a new voice, I think.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's like with Lindy Ruff in New Jersey. They had so many injuries and all that. Was he really his fault? Was it the owner not getting a goalie? Sometimes you just need to change.
The coach is always the easiest one to get rid of because they're the middleman between the players and the GM. That's always
the GM's not going to fire himself, and the owner's not going to let the GM trade players.
You're not going to trade your core. The coach is always a scapegoat.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, hearing y'all talk about it, that was the big thing why Gallant got fired. We went on a tiny bit of a skid. There was injuries and stuff, but also he wasn't a fan of trading for Robin Leonard. He wanted to ride Fleury for 60 games in a season, and I was like,
"Hey, you know what? Now Minnesota's doing that, and it's still not working.
Yeah.
God bless Fleury, man. Like he was a soldier for the Hawks. The like half a year he was there.
I forgot he was on the Hawks. Dude, he just bounced around so much.
Yeah, he was
Pittsburgh
because
to
he was.
Vegas to Chicago to Minnesota. And now he's forgettable because it's Minnesota.
Allen special.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Vegas just goes after the new shiny toy. Like Gerard Gallant was the big thing, and then they fired him, got Pete DeBoer, and he wasn't good enough, and then they got fucking Bruce Cassidy, and
Yeah, they
that seems to be
lucked out
working
with that
fine.
one. Fuck, man. Imagine getting one of the best coaches from one of the most complete teams to come to Vegas, and then they finally win the cup, and everyone's like,
You
"Man,
probably-
who
I would-
fucking seen that."
Yeah, you can make the argument Cassidy is the best coach in the NHL, or
Yeah,
at worst top 5.
Yeah.
And it's funny though because Boston replaced him with a guy who I think was Dallas's old
Boston
coach,
is
Montgomery,
not fair.
and he was bad
yeah.
there, and now he's one of the best coaches. And it's like, is this team just like how are they still alive?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're a cockroach. Like they survive a nuclear blast and be fine.
Anyway,
Nuclear blast lost Bergeron and Krejci after losing the first round after winning 65 wins. Now we're good. Morgan Geekie will score a hat trick against Vegas. Like we'll get Pavel Zacha to live up to his top 6 pick potential. Insane. Charlie Coyle is.
Hey, wasn't that another trade involving Holla?
I think so.
Wait, which trade?
Holla for Zacha?
Pretty sure.
I believe. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. You're right.
He's every trade's him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that poor guy.
You were so right.
He's on New Jersey now.
Yeah, that's why they suck. It's actually him.
He's the problem.
He is the problem. We figured it out.
He went from us.
Yeah, don't trade for Eric Howell, guys. He's the problem.
That dude bounced around, I think, every year. I think he was part of the Trocheck deal.
Oh, fuck. Could you imagine?
I forgot.
No way.
I could be mistaken, but I thought he was part of that deal.
No, he was. You're right, because he was in Florida. I remember that. Well, that was the COVID year.
Eric Hall has been a part of 3 trades.
Oh, my Lord.
First, it was Holla to Carolina for Roy, and then it was Holla and a bunch of shit to Florida for Trocheck, and then Holla to New Jersey for Zacha. Dude, this poor guy. This is insane.
He's just got to get an apartment everywhere he goes because he just doesn't stay.
Yeah, he's living out of hotels.
Yeah. Get a nice little Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot he started his career in Minnesota, Vegas, Carolina.
I remember because he was
New Jersey. What the hell?
I remember because he played. The Hawks were playing the Wild. I think it was 2014. He had a few goals in that series. It's like, oh, Eric Howell, like this new rising star for the Wild, and he's been all right.
How did you get the year right? 2013-14 playoffs, 4 goals.
Trust me, I remember all that.
You're a fucking genius.
And
I don't
forget the Blackhawks related stuff.
And he came to Vegas, and I think he led us in like game-winning goals, like third period game-winning goals.
It's crazy. I don't know how he does it.
He had like a double overtime goal against the Kings in our first playoff series.
I remember that. Yeah.
Man, Eric Holla.
He had 55 points as a night.
Yeah.
Dude, that 2017-18 team is not like.
Dude,
it's crazy. Like, look at the point totals for that team.
Games for us.
I feel David Perron had at least 50 assists. Like he had 50 or 60 assists. It's crazy.
James
Fleury was a Vezina candidate. Yeah, it's crazy, that team.
Dude, hockey's awesome, man. I love looking back at this stuff. You just forget.
Lucas Spiza, starting defenseman on the Knights.
Oh my god,
that's right.
Didn't you take Clayton Stoner from Anaheim to also get Shea Theodore? And now,
oh my god,
Stoner's retired. And Theodore's like a top defenseman. Fucking team.
That one we got 3 first in the expansion draft. Like one of them was
it was the Islanders to take Grabowski. Winnipeg. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one? Columbus?
Yeah, I think Columbus.
I think the Winnipeg one, you flipped first. I think that's how it worked. Because I think you only walked away with 3, including Winnipeg, your own.
No, we gave them like the Islanders first or something like that.
Yeah, it was like the worst first that ended up at the draft.
Yeah. But I mean, thank you,
Still,
Minnesota,
though.
for Michael, though.
There you go.
Hey,
all worked
we don't
out.
want to get rid of, we don't want you guys to take Matt Dumba, so
Yeah,
we'll give you Eric Holla and Alex Tuck. You know,
We'll give you Tuck to take Holla instead of Dumba. Oh man! And then Seattle got screwed because you guys just fleeced the entire league.
yeah. And everyone was like, "We're not going to do that again."
Yeah, I remember when Vegas, like when they finalized that roster, that expansion draft, like, oh, they're gonna suck. What kind of team is that? And then now, fast forward 6 years later, when they won the cup, like I can't believe they just gifted Vegas. Like it was so funny seeing the revisionist history on that. But
It's like, yeah, I mean, they got so many good players, but so many of them, like the Carlson one's one of the greatest ones. How did they get him? And it's like, he did have 9 points the year before. He kind of just became elite.
James Neal was getting old, and they're like, we'll give,
James Neal, we know.
Everyone was like,
good.
Fleury's past it. Come on, he can't possibly win a Vezina. What?
And then Nate Schmidt was like a top 2 defenseman for like they.
Oh
the
my
thing
God.
with them is they had that team, but they've continually just year after year improved on it. Like I said this earlier, they go after the shiny toy. Like they didn't have to go after Petrangelo, but they got rid of Schmidt to get him.
And
I don't think they had to get Max Pacioretty, but they traded Nick Suzuki for him. Like did they have to trade for Mark Stone? No, they did anyways, and he's their captain.
And the trade was such a fleece now looking back.
That's one of the worst trades in recent memory.
Oscar Lindbergh was part of that trade.
They didn't even give up a first because Eric Brandstrom was our guy. Like he was our first round. That's such a horrible. They don't get grilled enough for that.
The thing about Brandstrom though, he was supposed to start for Vegas that year. Shea
that's
Theodore was negotiations with us and finally signed the contract at the end of the preseason, so Brandstrom got sent down.
Mitch, there's a lot of Vegas praising. That's because I think they're exactly how a sports franchise should be ran. Like I don't agree with how they've gotten rid of Fleury, how they got rid of Nate Schmidt, but I'd rather that than a team that just does nothing that doesn't care. Like
sits on their hands because they don't want to be the team that trades anybody.
Yeah, like there's always excuse. Oh well, the cap. Like Vegas says, fuck all of that. Like they do anything they can do to get the good player. It's Bill Foley seems like one of the very few owners in sports that the fans at very worst like respect or like he's just a guy who wants his sports team to win as opposed to just seeing it as like a money making machine. Well, it's that, and also your team is good, but that's how you make your team good. That's how you make the money. You make your team good.
Like running back to Calgary, their owner didn't want to trade Markstrom probably because of taking money back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that one's a double-edged one. They didn't want to make the Markstrom trade because they didn't want to retain $3 million, and the owner's also greedy because he's like, if we make the playoffs, we get 2 home games, and that's $2 extra million for me. That's like really that's the all right, cool.
As Foley sits there and goes, "I'll give you guys all the reins. Don't ask me nothing."
Yeah, just win. We don't care.
Yeah, you need $5 million to hire Bruce Cassidy. Okay, here you go. Like,
you want to trade the guy you just got? Like, I care.
Yeah. I hate it sometimes, but you know what? Got a ring.
Yeah, he literally has a ring, folks.
Literally,
he literally has a ring.
He got a ring. Good for him.
Stanley Cup champion. And he got a deal with the cup. We're gonna make that the picture for the podcast.
Speaking of a team that's never won a ring, like Nashville.
Speaking of a team that was supposed to go to Vegas, was supposed to go to a U2 concert, but that didn't work out. And guess what? Since then, they are 9-2-0, I believe. Not only did they re-sign Tommy Novak, who could have been a guy like a hot name on the market, they re-signed him. They might be buying now. Like they're pretty safely in a playoff spot now.
The rumors went from like they're gonna trade Saros to New Jersey because Markstrom's not going to. Hey, we're not trading anybody.
We're buying now.
I remember the people were like, "Oh, Carrier will get them a ton. Fabra will get them a first."
They still might make those trades. Yeah,
they still could, but like you don't have to now.
Mm-hmm.
The Novak, like you said, I was seeing people talking about like Yakov Trenin.
Yeah.
It's such a crazy turnaround in like the span of like a month.
I don't
And
think
you
it's
know what?
all because of that trip, but it's funny to kind of spin the narrative that way.
Good for them because their prospect pool is so fucking cheeks, man. They got like 3 guys that are good, and the rest of them are just like, remember when they took Zachary Leroux, and he's like just a suspension merchant at this point. Good for him.
Suspension merchant.
Remember when they
that's so
they
funny.
traded for Reed Schaefer as the best prospect back? Man, who could have seen that not working out?
Hey, but they have Tyson Tuesdays with Tyson.
Yeah, sorry. They got Tyson Tuesdays back, and
Oh my
good for
god.
him.
What they got Askarov in the AHL and it's
I mean, the
Camel.
Milwaukee Admirals, what did they win? It was 19 in a row that they won.
Oh, dude,
That's
that
crazy.
yeah, no, they
Like that whole organization, top to bottom, is just
is
winning
just played
like
sick.
crazy.
Yeah. Askarov looks crazy good. Kemel's playing, I believe he had pretty good numbers in the AHL. Yeah, 31 and 46. It's pretty respectable for like a 19-year-old.
Yeah, I think this might be his first year over here. I'm not too sure.
Second, he came over halfway through last year.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, good for them. They could have absolutely just went into the rebuild, and they found a way to somehow win. And now they're going to lose 10 games to end the year and finish 1 point out in the most heartbreaking way possible.
Here's how I see it. As a Blackhawks fan, I love the Predators continually doing this because they're just so mediocre. You bring up they have no prospects, or at least no notable. Like they have decent guys like Kemel's, like Askarov is going to be a nightmare. In my own
goalie
division
prospects are
Hawks
voodoo
fan.
though, because like he could be great, or he could take 3 years to be an NHL goalie.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like the Dustin Wolf situation in Calgary. But yeah, this would have been a great year to finish. Like, imagine if they got Celebrini and they tanked off and traded like 2 guys for first. Nope.
Objectively, it's what that franchise needs, but as a Blackhawks fan, I am more than perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Not only them making the playoffs, but them potentially buying to help that.
Yeah.
Yeah, give up Kemmel for somebody, please do it.
Kemmel for Blackwell, 1 for 1.
Oh, let's go. Get excited.
Or Tyler Johnson. You can get Tyler Johnson and Colin Blackwell.
I am curious what's going on with Tomasino, because he's got 20 points in 40 games, but they just sent him down.
Like he has 20 points in 40 games in the NHL.
Yeah, this year,
They
7
sent him
goals,
down.
13 assists. Yeah, he's got 6 points in 8 AHL games. He's not on their NHL roster right now.
Well, they got to give time to Cole Smith or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Cole Smith and Kiefer Sherwood, baby, let's go. Oh my
That's
God,
Rose's favorite player, Cole
they
Smith.
extended
We always
Michael
bugger about it.
McCarron. Spence, get excited.
Yeah. Former first-round pick Michael McCarron by the Habs in 2013.
Oh my God.
You can look that up and know I'm right.
Yeah. Preds are sitting really pretty though. 62 games played, 72 points. They're 7 ahead of Calgary and St. Louis. Now, to be fair, Calgary and St. Louis have 2 games in hand. If they win both, it's only 3 points back. But you got to win them and still catch up. So
Yeah.
it's not easy pickings, but you know, they could do something, or they got a big decision to make. When's the trade deadline? Like Friday?
Friday.
Yep, Friday.
Yeah, so by then they're gonna have to decide: do we add, sell? Do we do nothing?
I mean, how many games do they have between now and then?
I was just about to look that up. So they play not tonight. No, they play tonight. Oh wait, sorry, I'm on the wrong
Hell
day.
yeah, Boston's beating Toronto 3-0.
Oh, let's go. They don't play tonight.
Play tomorrow against Montreal.
Montreal should be a win. Don't play Wednesday. Thursday, they play Buffalo.
Ooh.
No comment.
And no game Friday.
No game Friday. So they got 2 games against 2 teams not in the playoffs. If they win both, you know.
But then if they lose both.
If they lose both, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, your future hinges on those 2 games, like your franchise's future hinges. If you win those 2 games, you buy. If you lose those 2 games, you sell.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which is crazy.
oh, you know what? I'm gonna look this up now in preparation. Who the fuck does New Jersey play between now and the deadline?
New Jersey.
They play Florida
Eesh.
They're losing that game
tomorrow.
because Florida is so good
They
right
play
now.
St. Louis Thursday.
That is an interesting one.
Okay, so they're, and for context, in the East, they're currently 8 points back with 2 games in hand on Tampa. So if you lose both those games, 8 back, no games in hand,
At best, yeah.
get out of here.
It's
They should sell.
it's the discussion I've had with Dylan is the Devils missing the playoffs the worst thing. Like obviously you want to make the playoffs every year. You want to have deep playoff runs. You want to win Stanley Cups, but sometimes it's
You
just
still have Hughes and Bratt locked up. You still got 3 more years of Hichet. I mean, you could trade Toffoli at the deadline if you don't think
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I've seen his name being tossed around for a few different teams.
You still have Marino. You still have Siegenthaler. You still have Hamilton. Your depth defensemen that have been objectively pretty bad can get traded. That's another year of Hughes and Nemec. You know what? Missing's not the worst thing.
No.
You just, when you're a team of that caliber, it kind of sucks to miss.
Yeah.
Especially
the
having
thinking
2
is-
guys connected to the Team Canada thing. If you made the playoffs with all of that going on, but now you've missed out, it's just another question to be asked. Like, why didn't you go get anybody when this was brought up? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
The thing for me is like, yeah, it's not ideal to miss the playoffs, but
Mhm.
might it be good for them just to sell off, like trade Tyler Toffoli, maybe get a first round pick if possible.
Probably a decent haul for him.
And you got your guys locked in. Timo Meyer, who hasn't been great, but I think he'll bounce back. I hope for their sake he does. Got Jack Hughes, got Jesper Bratt. Like their defense is set with Luke Hughes and Simon Net. Like that's so gross. And it goes back to the goaltending. Like they might trade for Markstrom, and it's funny because I don't think Lindy Ruff was doing great there, but also it's always the thing of show me a fired coach and I'll show you a bad goalie, and kind of the other way around. If a team's doing well, it's usually because you have a good goalie. And
who are their goalies?
Right now, Nico Dawes and
it's Dawes and
Schmidt and Nico Dawes. Not great.
Little insanity run last year against.
Dawes in 18 games is rocking an 888 at a B, and Schmid is rocking an 897 in 18. I know the standard of goaltending's dropped a little bit, but you still would. I mean, hey,
that's still not good.
Vitek Vanacek in 32 games, 890. They don't have a single goalie over 900.
Dear Lord.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of those scenarios where I'm like, you could use a Peter Mrazek there. Like Mrazek 908. New Jersey would probably be in a playoff spot if they had 908 goaltending.
And if they would have gotten Markstrom a week or two ago.
And they've been battered to shit with injuries.
But hey, they pay to watch him play, right?
They paid him. Yeah, I'm sorry. That code's going to live down in infamy, especially if they miss the playoffs now. It's just like, but injury-wise, Hamilton's been out. Nolan Foote's missed the entire year. Bastian's out. Vanacek's out. Their bottom defensive pair right now is Curtis McDermott and Nick.
They just got him for Matt Rempe. That's all they got him for.
You've got Chris Tierney on your fourth line. Mercer's having a bad year. Holtz can't find any traction. Just anything that could go wrong's kind of gone wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it should show you how well they're built. That it's almost worst case scenario for them, but they're not like bottom of the barrel. Like they're not making the playoffs, but like they're kind of just meh. But we've seen recent history. Like Vegas missed the playoffs, and they had a lot of injuries, but came back and won the next year. Blues missed the playoffs 2018. They came back and won. Like I don't think missing the playoffs, like Tampa missed the playoffs once or twice before they won the cup. Like it's not the end of the world for it to happen.
Sometimes you got to lose a little bit, reassess your team, make a move, and you go into next year.
Absolutely.
If this is the trade they got to make now this year to dump Toffoli's cap and then get a goalie back in the offseason, you got to go do it. No more of this dilly-dallying around.
No more dilly-dallying around.
It's like us Vegas missing the playoffs got DeBoer out of there, which allowed Bruce Cassidy to come in.
Yeah, and they've lost Ruff now, so maybe they let it ride with Green for the season, and they go get somebody in the offseason. Maybe they go get Mike Sullivan if he's fired, and he's just.
I wanted to bring that up. There's coaches out there. There's also Jay Woodcroft. There is Dean Evison. Like, there's names out there. They'll find
there's names out there. You got to find the one that fits their system. And to be fair, Lindy Ruff has always been more of an old school, slow it down hockey. And when you've got
X's and O's kind of guy,
when you've got Meyer, Hughes, and Brad as your top 3 paid forwards, just maybe let them open it up a little bit. You imagine Hughes
Mike
and
Sullivan.
That
Mike
would be scary.
Perfect with the Devils.
For the rest of the Metro, if they got an offensively gifted coach, not fun.
And a goal.
No, Mike Sullivan would be a perfect fit for the Devils, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't have to really. I think Toffoli's the big one. Other than that, maybe you trade Thomas Nosek or something, or you make a hockey trade. You see Alex Holtzley for a different prospect coming back or something, but nothing huge.
No, they don't need to do anything drastic. I think
Toffoli,
they just need like an off season to recover, let their young guys grow another year older, and again address the positions of need, which is mainly goaltending, and not get bloody injured so much.
Oh my God, Barkov just had one of the nicest assists I've ever seen.
I saw that.
Oh, how did he? What?
Barkov does that as Goodbranson just.
Oh my God! Hold on, Pearson, I'm gonna send it to you if I can find you here. Oh, there you are. Oh my God, it's crazy.
Who knew Goodbranson was a offensive threat?
Oh,
that hand eye. Oh my,
that's
Lord.
Crazy.
Man, if I'm Boomer watching that, I can't be mad. That's a thing of beauty.
Sorry, Boomer's one was Barkov is something else, man. Leafs last 13 games without Nick Robertson, 4-9. Leafs last 13 games with Nick Robertson, 10-3. Just some advanced analytics for you from our good friend Spence.
Yeah, I brought this up at the beginning of the podcast. It's the time of the year where we hyper focus on like whether there's scouts in the building and like if a player's sitting. This is from at Sean Hutchian. Linus Ullmark is not on the Bruins bench. Not sure why. # bust versus Toronto.
I can't imagine they're trading him, but
not until the end of like the off season if they would do make a trade.
That one would just be crazy if they did.
Man, I would love if the Blackhawks. I think he has a no trade clause, just Ullmark, but literally just Fleury, Marc-Andre Fleury 2.0. You get Ullmark for nothing. Just get him as a cap dump.
Oh man, if they dump the cap and they don't like ask for anything back, that would be such a mistake. He just won a fucking Vezina, dude. He's so good.
Yeah. And I heard that there's rumors that Swayman's about to get an extension there as well.
I think they're going to trade Ullmark. I think they're going to trade Ullmark eventually.
In the off season, though.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those ones where, just not right now.
Don't touch what's working right now.
Hey, that's not even. They don't even have to get Markstrom. Like the Devils could get Ullmark, maybe. Like, I'm just thinking of what contending team needs a goalie of that caliber.
Hey, man, listen. One day, eventually, John Gibson is gonna get traded. One day,
it feels like it's been 3 or 4 years of that.
3 or 4. It's got to be so much longer.
Yeah, it's being generous. It might be longer
than that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that poor bastard. Oh man.
Also, it's crazy how Boston had Tim Thomas as their goalie. He won a Vezina and a Conn Smythe. Went to Tuukka Rask, is one of the best goalies. Has like one of the best statistical profiles as a goalie in NHL history, and then now Linus Ullmark wins a Vezina for them, and now they're going.
I wonder which team would have been stupid enough to let Linus Ullmark go to free agency and not resign.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough, dude.
Hey, at least we got
UPL's been doing good though, right?
Dude, he's so fucking nasty. He's got like a
well,
9
that's
point
good.
now.
I'm glad he's finally figuring it
Yeah,
out.
his hits finally decided to work.
Hell yeah. And you got Devin Levi. Like one of them has to be decent enough. Like I think the Sabres are fine with that.
UPL could have calmed down a few games ago. It would have been cool.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's fair. That's fair.
Barely just gets the save. I'm just like, wow.
Dude, he made another one of those saves against Winnipeg. I know they lost, but fuck, dude, he's just a highlight reel machine so far.
Well, that's kind of it on the notes that I wanted to touch on. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to talk about.
Is there any
topic of discussion?
Is there any good Twitter questions?
That's all I know.
That's what we're getting into right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just gonna leave me here, and I was like, oh, I don't.
Oh, I would never do that. So we do have a couple. Well, this is Zach just saying, is Scott Boras cooked? Which yes, he is. Thank God. Which is dead. This is really only the main question we got. From Schmidt, you couldn't be on the podcast today. Don't worry, we'll have a podcast soon where all four of us are on. Thoughts on where Gensel ends up / signs in free agency. Also, what do the Sabres do to address right D either at the trade deadline or draft some? That's more for you, Jacob.
Me.
You want to answer that part first?
Sure. What do they do to address the right D? I think they're going to draft one with their first round pick, and if they don't, they're going to make a big splash in free agency / like a trade.
Who would be on the market for a right D?
I mean, they could if Tanev doesn't re-sign in Dallas. I've heard they were interested. That
would be good to put him alongside Dahlin or Power.
I know they showed interest in Rasmus Anderson from Calgary, but Calgary didn't want to move him just yet. I know they've shown interest in Dante Fabro and Alex Carrier from Nashville, and they've shown interest in Matt Roy from LA, and all three are set to either become free agents or RFA'd. So we'll see. I've also seen that they're scouting the OHL guy, Zane
Perrick. Yeah, we talked about him last time.
I don't know.
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's Perrick.
Yeah, it's either Perrick or like Perrick, but
Perrick,
and
I thought it was
they've
Perrick
also
Perrick,
been scouting Carter Yakimchuk in the WHL.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they're looking right-handed D pretty heavily.
Mm-hmm. Who would be your
Gensel? Yeah, we'll all pick a team.
Who would be your dream right-handed shot? Like you can't just be like, oh, I want Charlie McAvoy, but like a realistic.
Oh, I mean, Charlie McAvoy would actually be the dream.
You can't be like, oh, I want Kale McCarr. He would be good. I think
the one that makes the most sense is probably Matt Roy, just because of the connections to, I believe, Granato, because he coached him before. And he fits the timeline as age better than Tanev does.
Yeah, easily. Like if you're bringing in Tanev, like at most 2 years, like ideally, if you're Buffalo, you bring him like 1 year, $5 million or whatever.
Yeah,
$5 million.
And Tanev with the name value, you just kind of worry that somebody's going to overpay him because that's kind of just what happens.
Easily, yeah. But yeah, onto the Gensel end of things. I've always I've wanted to see. I think for a couple months now, for Gensel to go to Edmonton, like he would just fit. I think Gensel would fit in perfectly on any contending team. Right now,
yeah,
Matt. I think
you're gonna pick them. I know who Mitch is gonna pick. So
no, I'm not going Oilers.
I would.
So here's what I want him to be on the Oilers, but I think Vegas goes and swoops and gets him.
Okay, that's fair. I'm in a similar boat where I would like to see him on Edmonton just to see McDavid with like an elite winger.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Vancouver is going to be the team that comes in and overpays.
Yeah.
Vegas is an interesting one. I think they're going to go after Buchnevich more. Just I think he fits
they
better.
Could get both for all we know.
Dude, if they could get both, that would be just stupid. I mean, Mitch is the Vegas fan, and you're just like, hey, I'll take either. Just give me one.
I just want two guys. Don't care who the two are. Just give me two guys in this deadline.
Yeah, the only other team I could see that makes like semi sense might be like a Carolina. I mean, they were trying to upgrade with Pedersen, so maybe that. But again, the divisional stuff becomes so tough. Like, would Pittsburgh trade him to Carolina? But they have such a nice prospect pool. If you get the best offer, do you really care?
Yeah, what was the
I
thing
don't
we were
know.
talking
That's
about
a
earlier? That Calgary turned down a first for Tanev from Edmonton, so that's
yes.
definitely still a thing. But I don't think
They turned down a
Pittsburgh.
first from Dallas too, apparently.
Yeah, they wanted Grushnikov, like they wanted a ready
Which,
prospect,
yeah, they
which I
rather
get,
the second
but
and the prospect over the first. I mean, I kind of respect it because the late first, you're gonna get, you know, a late second. It's not much worse, and you kind of get the guy you want already.
yeah,
It's not terrible.
Yeah.
I just can't help but feel like maybe they could have got first and him, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, especially because the condition on the third was so bad.
Yeah,
Like if you just took that third out and you just took the first in Grushnikov, it's so nice.
Yeah.
Or even if you put the condition on the second where it's like we get a second guarantee, but if you go to the third round, we get a first, which is pretty likely. They just have to beat one of Nashville and then Colorado
yeah,
or Winnipeg, but you know.
dude, I can't. All this trade deadline talk, like I want to see it happen and stuff.
Yeah,
Like I
do
want to see the
something,
big
please.
trades.
Every year it's the
But
same thing where it's like one trade happens early and then for a month nothing happens and everyone's like speculation, speculation, and then the day comes and
rumblings,
no one moves.
tire kicking. Yeah.
And everything I see with Vegas and Gensel makes me just kind of be like, all right, well, instead we're gonna get like Tarasenko and a man.
Tarasenko would be good too.
Tarasenko would
He's
be
been
good, yeah.
he's been very good with Ottawa.
My guess was the Kings, but they've been so shit recently that Vegas I can see easily getting them.
We were rumored to be talking to looking into Tarasenko or no, Toffoli, Buchnevich, Eberle if he doesn't re-sign in Seattle, and Gensel.
Fair. All right, not bad.
For me, I'm looking at the playoff matchups right now, and man, it's gonna be so much fun. I still believe the NHL should do 1 through 8 in
Yeah,
hopes of, you know, having the two best teams meet in the conference final as opposed to the first round, because we might get a couple series like that this year. But I also get why they do it that way, because it's when everyone is at their healthiest. Like you have 4 games on a night of the best possible hockey, like the best teams going at it. So I get it from that angle. First round matchups right now. So starting with the West, it would be Vancouver versus Nashville. I mean, whatever. Here's where it gets interesting. LA versus Winnipeg. You had 2 teams that made a big trade over the offseason. And here's where it really gets fun. Both of these series could be conference finals. First one, Dallas and Colorado, which has been like that series they played in the 2020 bubble was a very underrated playoff series. I think it's just because it was in the bubble. And then you got Edmonton and Vegas for a second year in a row, but it's in the first round this time. Like, as someone who lives in Edmonton, like I want to see the Oilers do well, go win a Stanley Cup. But as a hockey fan, like, give me that in round
that's
1.
such
I'm
a
all
good
over
series.
that. I would go see
David
a game.
Eichel again.
Fuck
it.
And then in the East, it would be Florida versus Tampa.
Oh, let's go!
I know. And New York versus Detroit. I feel like that could be a low-key underrated series. The 2 original 6 teams.
Oh, we get
Patrick
Boston,
Kane.
Toronto again.
Yeah, Boston, Toronto, and then Carolina, Philadelphia. Yeah, but like there's some bangers there. Like it's always the 2 and 3 that always is crazy. And
Part of me's holding out hope that like New Jersey can somehow squeak in over the Islander or over Philly, because Carolina,
Devils,
New Jersey,
Rangers again.
Devils,
That
Rangers,
too,
or even
yeah.
Devils, Hurricanes would just be more fun. I don't know. Something about that Philly team just doesn't really speak.
Nah,
they're the youngest
to me yet.
Yeah. But just looking at it right now, like I want the trade deadline to happen. I want to see all these big moves, but then I want to go on the playoffs and see how it all folds out, because it's so wide open. But
Yeah,
there's definitely like a few teams where like, yeah, that team could legitimately win a Stanley Cup. So yeah, that's all we got. I don't know if you guys are feeling down to read a couple of Reddit stories before we end this.
Sure. Was that the only Twitter question?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was I think Patrick asked a wrestling question. I don't know if any of you guys would be able to answer it, but I can't, so
Oh, I don't know wrestling. Sorry, Patrick. Watch a real sport.
Oh, he did also ask backup question, who replaces Lindy for the Devils' next head coach? Well, right now it's Travis Green.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it. I think it's going to be Sullivan if he's
Sullivan.
fired.
Yeah, if the Penguins fire Sullivan, then definitely him. I was thinking about Monsters Inc. here. I need James P. Sullivan.
Nice.
But
yeah,
if that's a movie reference for y'all.
If you want to do a couple quick
Reddit stories, yeah, because
the
Hawks game starts soon, and I do want to.
Drew made
watch
such
that
a
even though they'll lose.
Travis Green promoted to help Devils get Markstrom. He was the coach that got Markstrom kicked out of Vancouver. Nice. All comes full circle, baby.
That's a great marketing plan. Oh man, where do we start here?
So can't believe we let Branson score.
That's what I remember. We were talking about the Barkov goal, and you're saying Gabranson. Like, where's Gabranson?
Yeah, I was confused at first. I was like, he's not on the Rangers, and then I looked at the Columbus game. I was like, oh, he
against Vegas.
Absolute piss missile.
Let's fucking go. Eric Gabranson is here.
You know, I respect it. I remember being on that live stream when he signed that. I thought it was a 4 years, 1 million per, but it was a 4 times 4.
Columbus, it's still such a great contract.
All right. Let's read a couple of Red stories here. So Jacob's been on this before, but Mitch, like, we're just gonna read Red story. There's a few subreddits I like to look at. Like, I'll read the town, and be like, this would be good to read. Some of them are like funny, and you're like, oh, but then you read them and you just go on and on. It's psychopathic. You're like, what the fuck did I get myself into? So we're about to find out if any of these stories match the first part or the second part, or maybe somewhere in between. So we're start off with, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for suggesting to another soccer mom to remove her daughter from our team? I will start by saying, as parents, we should be able to gauge our children's abilities and what programs are the best fit for them. We play on a competitive recreational indoor soccer league during our non-parks and rec off season. The parks and rec in our area offer 2 different forms of indoor soccer social, being the least competitive and more about having a good time, being laid back, and learning at a slower pace, and competitive, self-explanatory. Our kids are 9 to 10 years old and really want to win. These girls fight hard and truly give it their all. Hell yeah. One player on the team literally just runs around flailing her arms in the air. She does not know the rules of the game. She will drop to the ground on field and start throwing a fit if the other team scores a goal, screaming, "We're going to lose!" It's such a distraction to all of the players on the team. And even me as a general manager, my team gets scored on. We're going to lose! Oh my God, so relatable.
You watching Vegas?
Yeah. It's such a distraction to all of the players on the team, and even the opposing team gets so confused. I mean, hey, that's a plus. You fuck up your other team.
Tactical warfare.
It's like a Pokemon thing. Other team is confused now. They have her in the defender box most of the time, and when it's time to defend and match up, she shakes her hand in the other kid's face or just runs the opposite direction. A little Sean Avery there for you. It's just hard to watch as a parent. Also, a factor in this is we pay a few $100s in fees every season, and some of us help sponsor as well. So we're invested in being competitive. This isn't professional soccer, lol, but we still take it pretty serious. I spoke with her mother recently, who just laughed and giggled about the girl's behavior, calling it cute and how she's just having a good time out there. I did not pry into her medical history because that's none of my business. But the mom voluntarily shared that her daughter had ADHD and was thinking about medications. Personally, I think there's something else going on with the kid, But again, that part is none of my business. I then suggested to the mom maybe the social league would be better fit for her daughter, that what she was doing on the field and during practice was so distracting and counterproductive that it was detrimental to the team and our chances of even making the playoffs. She snapped at me hardcore and said this is just little kid sports and it shouldn't matter at all, to keeping my fucking thoughts to myself. Also, that she won't go to the social league, and how dare I even approach her with my opinion. Am I the asshole here? Other parents and even the coaches have shown frustration, but I'm the only one who actually spoke up. No, you are not the asshole. That mom is the asshole. Like, kids are kids. Again, and like she said, it's not the end of the world. It's a kids league, but that kid doesn't care about it at all. Like, get her out of there. Stop embarrassing your child.
How old the kids were?
9 to 10.
9 to 10. Yeah. Okay, then there's like two sides to it. Where it's like I can't imagine the sport, like the league they're in, is that serious at 9 to 10. They were 15 and they, like you're playing like AAA soccer. Obviously,
could you imagine like a 15 or 16-year-old like
AAA soccer?
No, you're not getting past me.
I'm imagining they're 9 to 10-year-olds and they're just kind of like on the travel team instead of like the regular whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just have your kid play less competitively. They might even enjoy it more. Who knows? Like you're kind of just doing it to put your kid in a bad spot for no reason.
What do you think, Mitch?
I just can't get over the waving their hands in the faces.
that is kind of great.
Dropping down on the floor. We're gonna lose.
Those are low, like there's a little bit of Sean Avery and just like a frustrated fan. So I almost respect that. But to me, I respect it. To me, it's the mom that's the asshole keeping her daughter in there, who probably doesn't care much about it. She would be better off. Like, I think it's a good thing to get your children into sports, but it's never really that serious. But also, these kids want to win. Don't put your daughter out here, embarrass her, embarrass the team, embarrass everyone else, like the coaching and all the other parents. Like, just do everyone a favor and let her go on to that team, to the less competitive team. Sorry?
Just do what we do during Cheat Liga, just somebody's doing something we don't like, just time them out real quick.
Time them out of there. Sorry, we're putting you in the sin bin. Get out of your kid. Go down to the other room.
Here's 1,000 bits. Put them for timeout for 600 seconds.
1,800 seconds. You can come back, kid. Get out of your brat. Fucking drop to your knees and say we're gonna lose again. I dare you.
Yeah, it's like how like their messages gets disappeared. It's like shaking your hands and like yelling and screaming like, "Oh, we're gonna get rid of you," and then the person just completely disappears off the field and just pops back out there.
30 minutes when the game's over.
Yeah. Yeah, like she comes back, like just pops back out of nowhere, and like everyone is gone. Like, hello?
that would be fucking awesome. Elon Musk, drop X, come up with this technology, please.
Yeah, screw going back to the moon and making these new cars. Let's make that happen. Let's make Twitch in real life happen. I think that would be epic.
Let's fucking go.
I feel like you could try. I feel like you would try.
Well, yeah, why not?
I'm gonna read some of the replies to this. That was the what would the word be called? Like, that was everyone came to,
that
like,
was the original post. Yeah,
the verdicts. That's what I was gonna say. The
verdict. There you go.
Yeah, everyone thinks that they're not the asshole. So I'm gonna read some of the replies. Some coach or somebody in charge should put on their adult undergarments and kick the kid off the team for the good of all the other little girls that actually want to play and not just run around on a grassy field. Not the asshole.
Just imagine one of the parents comes out and just slide tackles the fucking kid, breaks its ankle. Just, who's losing now?
Yeah. Oh. Or just start heckling them.
You're slow, 1-5. You're slow.
Oh, so funny. And another thing that this comment brings up, this doesn't sound like a kick the kid off the team situation. It sounds like you pay your money and decide which level you want to pay at. This kid and or her mom decide to pick competitive and pay their dues. You can't kick them off. There was likely not a tryout. Best coach could do is talk to parent and suggest she pick the other less competitive path. Also not good for ADHD girls' self-esteem if she's around other girls and from the sounds of it, parents who are annoyed by her. And that's what I mean. It's the mom.
It's just
Like the mom probably spent money, probably spent quite a bit of money, more money that she would have spent had they put her in the non-competitive league for her daughter who really didn't care that much. Like that just seems like get my daughter in there to play competitive soccer, make her a star. But no one, like none of the coaches or parents like want that to be a thing, or the girls on the team. So it could be like the coaches and all that can talk, and like other parents can talk to her all they want, but like it's the mom at the end of the day that needs to make that decision.
Yeah,
so
I don't even think the kid understands. If you went to the kid to explain it, they would just like they could easily take it.
He's friggin' 9 or 10. I didn't understand shit when I was like a young adult.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of going back to that age and where my mind would be at, trying to comprehend that kind of thing. No. All right. So it's not like that's not a crazy one. That's I would call that on the pretty low end.
That's pretty tame.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Okay. We'll read this last one. We'll write it off on that. End it off on this one because it is it's a funny title. Am I the asshole for throwing away my coworker's tooth? All right. I work in a slightly unconventional office. Cursing and dirty jokes okay. It's in a small building, like all the desks touch small, and we have staffing 7 days a week. Some senior employees have their desk, including myself. Some senior employees, they have a dick, including myself. But other employees, including temps, use them on different days. Essentially, all the desks are used by everyone. 2 weeks ago, my coworker's tooth suddenly broke off, and they went to the dentist. One problem, they left their tooth on the desk. The first day, it wasn't a big deal because they left so suddenly, but it stayed there for a few days. The next week, 2 more junior coworkers who had been using that person's desk mentioned to me that the tooth was still there. We were all very grossed out by it. They didn't want to touch her belongings. I have no problem with that, but I couldn't bring myself to touch the actual tooth, so it stayed. The next week, a temp told me she heard the coworker joking about how she wanted people to ask her about the tooth so she could gross them out with it. That was the last straw for me. The coworker was off that day, so I covered the tube with a Post-it. I wrote on the Post-it, "Please put this away. It's icky." Sad face. The next day, my coworker read the note. I was not there and started grilling others about who wrote it. They told them it was me, which I told them to do. She taped the tooth to the note and put it on my desk. She texted me a photo of the note and tooth and wrote, "Don't worry, I saved it for you." The next day I was back, she was off again. I threw it away. She's passive-aggressively angry at me. I'm guessing because I touched her stuff and made her feel judged. Am I the asshole? I know you shouldn't touch people's personal stuff at work, but does someone's old tooth cross the line? Well, put photo proof in comments if I can. I gotta see if there's a picture in the comments.
Oh, please.
I don't think there is. Damn it.
Oh my God, Mitch, did he just score again?
What?
Who?
Did Alex Nylander just score again?
No,
he just broke his heart.
Wow.
Third
goal game for Alex Nylander.
And it's assisted by Cole Sillinger. Get excited for the future, baby.
Lord. That's literally what happened at the Blackhawks game, but it was the other way around. Nylander assist, Cole Sillinger goal. So, not the asshole. What are you doing? Especially when you know that office space is confined. Like, I would be paranoid to leave anything laying around. Like a tooth. Like, not that anyone's gonna steal your. Like, if you steal someone's tooth and do weird shit, I mean, you're the weirdo. But like, why would you leave that sitting around?
And then especially writing the note saying that, "Oh, this is for you."
Yeah, like that's the thing. Somebody leaving the note being like, "This is icky." I just grow up. And
it was OP. It was OP who wrote that.
No, I know. I'm saying they're still kind of weird. Like, just tell them leave an actual note being like, hey, this is unprofessional. Can you like, just putting this is icky sad face is like a little childish.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. I think it's because she wrote that because I don't think she, I think it's a she at least, that she didn't see that coworker did that. But yeah, that's still,
Yeah.
I don't think they're the asshole.
The response to it,
Yeah,
leaving
no,
it on their desks.
Yeah, the throwing it out once the person puts it on your desk, I would have done the same. Just like, fuck you then if you want to play like that. But it could have been handled a little better on the other, like the OP's part. But it's just, why are you leaving a tooth around? And why would you care if someone throws it out? It's a fucking tooth.
Yeah,
is it like your lucky tooth? If it was, why are you leaving it there?
You have like a diamond encrusted on it. My golden tooth.
My golden special
tooth. Yes, I've been saving up for this tooth for many years.
Just to leave it there.
I got it encrusted when I was a little lad. But I think the first reply shares that same sentiment that you guys were saying that I agree with. The tooth is a biohazard. You shouldn't have left it in the first place. Also, general rule of thumb, if you're going to passive aggressively tape it to a sticky note and put it on someone else's desk, you can't get mad when they throw it away. Yeah. But yeah, not the asshole. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Body.
It was just funny though. Like, why a tooth? Why was this?
That's just weird. I'm trying to think. Like, tooth, it's different, but like that'd be if someone was like leaving their fingernails on like part of your body. Like, that's just so weird. Like a tooth. Yeah. We could do one more if you guys want to.
Sure, go for one more.
Okay. So this is not I'm the asshole. This is true off my chest, which is just a confession. There's no verdict on this one. So NSFW. I can only pleasure myself with my phantom penis.
Fuck is a phantom penis?
Well, you were about to find out. After these messages. No.
I'm Googling.
I'm a woman, and I know we usually use sex toys like dildos or vibrators or our own fingers inside us or all manner of things to please ourselves. But the only way I've managed to feel anything resembling orgasmic pleasure without a partner involved is to pretend I have a penis. Specifically, I squeeze my legs together, roll my hand up as if I were holding a penis, and then kind of rub the air up and down while hitting the flesh around my vulva every time I reach the base of my penis. It's really weird, but it works. I have no desire to get surgery to have a penis of my own, but this just works for me. I mean, hey, country girls make do. So
is that someone who's coming out as trans? Like, did they?
No. They don't have a penis.
I'm saying do they want one? Come on.
No, because at the end. No, because at the end she said it's really weird, but it works. I have no desire to get surgery to have a penis of my own, but this
we could have gained another one on our side. Damn.
Kind of the same with me as a man. If I need to get off on my own, I use my phantom vagina right hand.
When I get off on my own and I'm just squeezing my fake titties. Yeah, no, I get it. I understand. I understand what you're coming at here, lady. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice. Nice short little sweet one to end. Good.
Oh my god, I shouldn't have clicked on those ones. I'm not gonna read any more of that.
Let's not read any more of that.
Yeah,
nice.
Especially when it's involving genitals. So.
Nope, fair. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, it was a pleasure having you on this podcast. Well, Jacob, we've had you on a few times.
It's always nice to be here, though.
Absolutely. Well, Mitch, it was nice to have you on, man. Like, we never really talked that much. Like, I'll message you or you'll message me like every few months. Like, I remember we played Minecraft together, but like,
oh my god,
I've never had you for like a full-on discussion like this. So it was nice hearing your insight on things. Like, I know pretty well what Jacob thinks. I always like hearing him talk, but like, it was nice hearing your end of things. Like, I never knew you worked for the Golden Knights. I didn't know you got a ring. I didn't know you damn, I'm fucking jealous of you, dude. Like, you sound like you from everything I hear and see, you're like living your best life right now. I'm glad.
Trying to. Well, thank you for having me on this.
Bro, we gotta have you on again for sure. This definitely won't be the last time. So different podcasts, but with my two boys here, but it was nice to do it. If you are a listener, give us a 5-star rating on your preferred podcast platform, whether that is Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Do it. Do the roar. If you're watching our beautiful faces on YouTube, hit that like button, smash that like button, even smash the subscribe button. Also, click the bell notification so you don't miss any of these videos and podcasts with our beautiful faces on it. So, yeah, gentlemen, it was a pleasure. Trade deadline is on Friday. We will be doing. Schmitty texted the group chat. Alex Nylander 2-goal game. So that's a perfect way to end it off. So we will be. Run from it, like dread it, destiny outrise, all the same. We will be doing the trade deadline stream on Friday. I don't know if you guys are available for that, but if you want to join on, like you can if you want.
I'll let you know tomorrow. I probably should be though.
Friday's the I should be good for it.
Fuck yeah, then we'll have you guys on for that too.
Nice.
I think Dylan and I might record the night before, so yeah, I'll let y'all know and the listeners know via our Twitter account. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your night and peace out, y'all.